Now tell me about your experience going into Annapolis, going into the Naval Academy.
Okay, now which one?
Once you Adam Powell decided that you were going to be at the forefront,
Right.
and you said, "Okay, I'm going to do this."
Mm-hmm.
What was the experience like from the moment that you arrived? How were you received?
Well, first of all, the first part of this plebe summer was easy. Easier than it was today, because the war was still going on, and the class had to be formed by these young men coming from all over the world to come back to Annapolis. Some of the guys didn't even get back until the end of August. So we're just dribbling in. I'm in Washington, so I catch the bus, and I'm right there. We're in Army uniform, and the only problem was trying to get out of the Army, because I enlisted when I was 17. I'd never registered for the draft. The Army didn't think the Navy was going to swear me in, and they didn't want to lose all this education. If I got out, I'd have to register for the draft, and then they'd have to draft me.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know whether I was carding them or just what. One way to get out of the Army. But anyway, so I finally got out. And since we didn't have a whole class per se, we did get the sailing, or the how to tie knots, or signaling, what have you, and the academic reinforcement. It was really not what you would normally have done had all of the people been there. 85% of my class were former enlisted, and that included me. So they knew a little more about what life was like as an enlisted man than some of the upperclassmen did that got there before it, rather than having served. And of course, I had my cadet training and so forth at Naval Academy. I played tennis, I ran track, and that kind of thing. However, upperclassmen were away on cruise or on vacation. But when they came back, then it really hit the fan, because then the plebe rates applied, and what that meant in effect is such things as you had to march against the wall of the bulkhead, you had to fin out and keep your arms straight, you ask questions. There was a little book called Reef Points. You were expected to know everything in that book, and if you didn't, there was some punishments that went with it. One was to do a certain number of push-ups. Usually your class number, 49 in the case of my class. You marched to class, you marched to chapel, you marched to meals. And
what kind of question might you be asked on the spur of the moment?
Well, professional questions, naval history, for example. Who were the two commanding officers involved in the Chesapeake affair, one of the causes of the War of 1812?
And you're supposed to have that on the tip of your tongue.
That's right. That's the Reef Points.
And if you don't have it on the tip of your tongue, what happens? Then
there was some kind of penalty. If you were at breakfast or dinner, say, it might be shove out, which means just pull the chair from under you and stay up there as if you were sitting in a chair, but it has a chair, and wait until they let you go. And by the same token, if you had to do 49 push-ups, the guy might say, do 49 more. So sometimes you could be pretty tired. And lots of times, when you went through a lot of physical exertion like that, you really weren't in much of a mood to study.